Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and I want to show you guys how to make these two designs of earring, or you could use them as pendants or charms or whatever you like, using these cute bead caps that I found on Amazon. So let's go ahead and get started. The first design that we'll be making today is just going to be using an 8mm round glass bead, the same pack of bead caps in this lotus flower design style that we'll be using through all of our video, or all of the designs in this video, as well as the same pack of ball head, like ball style head pins. That links for all of these are down in the video description below. And while I'm making them into earrings, you could very easily just attach, just attach these to like a large ring or a bail or something of that sort, which will be linked down. The bails that I would recommend are down in the video description as well. That way you could either make them as an earring charm or a pendant, or you could just take this as is and attach it to like a charm bracelet or anything like that. Now I am going to say, if you have very long and curly hair, these can be a complicated earring to wear with your hair down, but I'm not a stylist, I'm a jewelry designer, so I just wanted to show you guys some really fun and beautiful ways that you can incorporate these style of bead caps into your work. So that being said, we're just going to start with the ball head pin and slide our 8mm bead on there. I find that 8mm is the smallest that I like to go with these, though 10 and 12 and even as large as 14mm could be really cool. But I love the 8mm because you can just whoop, slide it on there just like how we did. And then I do have some size 8 or close to 4mm blue seed beads they're a pretty round seed bead. I think I got them at like Joann's or something, but again, a very similar product will be linked down in the video description. Then we're going to come in with our flat nose pliers, leaving about 3 to 4mm between the jaw of our pliers and our last bead. And I'm just going to put as sharp of a bend into that wire as I can. You could use round nose pliers for this or some other type of mandrel, but I really like these mandrel jaw pliers because I can make consistently sized loops. And I am just going to use the smallest, which is about like a 2 or 3mm, I think it's a 3mm mandrel. I haven't measured it, but you just really, whatever size you make the loop, you could make the loop quite large and have that be the bail. So that's an idea too. And if I were to do that, I might like loop twice or something, but now I'm going to come in using my bent nose pliers. You could continue to use your flat nose, but I really like my bent nose for this. And I'm gripping with my left hand, but not so hard that it's going to bite into the wire. I just want to keep things stable. And I am just wrapping this around. Oh my gosh, there's so much loud traffic today. I'm so sorry, you guys. Oh well. This is life now. And I like to do about 3 wraps, then I'm going to wrap just a little bit more beyond there, because you can see how that kind of settles in like that. And now I'm going to snip. Now these head pins, I think, are enameled steel, so I do not mix them in with my regular wire stash that I melt down about once or twice a year of just like scrap wire, just because I don't want to contaminate the copper. And I'm going to use my bent nose pliers to come in and just smush, smush, smush all around. So there's no little pokey bits. And that is how we do that. Now on this one here, you can see they kind of splayed out. The flower was a little bit more open on this cap than what it was on this one. So let's try to make them match a little bit more. And what we can do is you could use your pliers or your fingernail and just distribute the leaves, like the petals of the bloom, a little bit more. Just like that. So how that opens up a little bit. I actually think these would be amazing for in miniatures, for making like cool little steampunky bouquets. And then we can use the outside of our flat-nosed pliers as a little bit of like a bezel roller almost, and just roll these petals down against the bead, because if you can see how that looks now that it's been rolled as opposed to whenever it's just poking straight out. And stylistically, you may prefer them poking straight out. I'm personally just looking for them to be consistent with each other, you know, being earrings and all. So there we are. And now we can attach our sterling silver ear wires. Now, some folks, we always get comments, I'm a fan of mixed metal tones. If you want your earrings to match, just get metal that matches. Don't tell me in the comments, oh my god, I hate that. It's like, this it may not be your cup of tea, but I wasn't brewed for you. This is my jewelry, you guys. Like, and the techniques remain the same regardless of regardless of what color of wire that you're using. It's still the same concept. So we will open up just a little loop right there, like that. Whenever we open our loops, we don't want to open them if my hand is the loop. We don't want to go like that. We want to go like so that it lifts up. We can put our other ring on and then whoop, close it down. And that just helps it to maintain its shape. There we go. And just hook that on. And some folks may see this and be like, well, that's not very secure. You know, it's not a wrapped loop. This is going in my ear, and if I get this tangled on like a scarf or something, I want there to be a weak point. That way, because I'm going to have an earring back on it, and that way that will open up before it starts causing damage to my ears. So it's a caution, I think, of any clumsy person who wears earrings to, you know, be mindful of. So there is our first pair. And there are other style of earring backs on the market as well. I'm a really big fan of like the kidney back ones that like have like the kidney hooks, and the lever backs is what they're called. Are two different styles that I really like. These are fish hook style earrings. You could also find some like post earrings that have like a cute little thing on the front. So the way that you accessorize these up is entirely dependent on your own personal style. And that goes for all of the designs we'll be working on today. And I'm just going to thread on our silicone ear backs, and these are ready to be worn. Very cool. So on to the next design. The next design that we're going to do is just slightly more intricate, but uses the same materials. Now it's very handy with this design that there's an even number of petals around the edges, because we do want to make sure that we can attach the ear hook to the petal opposite of where the drops are hanging off. And you could totally add another drop to either side so that there's a total of 3 and have like a little like chandelier looking earring. So let's see. We are going to start it off the same exact way that we did the other one. So threading our ball style head pin through our 8mm bead, and then threading this through the center of our bead cap. And on this one, I do want to come through and alternately lift up these leaves. It's just fluffing it a bit, just like when you take like a Christmas tree out of the box, you need to, you know, fluff its needles and stuff. With these guys, a little redistributing of the petals can make it look very, very cool. I also, as a lampwork glass artist, I really want to try making like a thistle blossom and use these as the base of the thistle blossom, because I think that would be beautiful. But now from here, I am going to take my flat nose pliers, which we'd actually taken this against a grinder and thinned down. If you can see, one of the edges, like one of the jaws, is thinner than the other, and we ground that down almost to a sharp point on the end, so that I can come in and grip this way and bend with very little material actually in the way. So we have a very sharp right angle bend, as sharp as I could get, and I'm going to snip this just a bit off. So we probably have like an inch from where it exits the back of the bead cap to where we're cutting. And I am going to, on my round nose pliers, you could use your mandrel pliers, just round this down, making almost like a keyring style loop. That we will be able to put our ear hook through. I'm going to open up the loop on the ear hook, and we can hook through the little hole in the center of the petal, as well as the loop of wire that we had made. And then I'm going to come in and close that loop. We have to be careful because if I add any more material to this, it's going to lose its wobble, like its wiggle. In fact, I think I'm going to come in and trim this because it's not wiggling the way that I want it to. So I'm just going to snip that, remove this excess wire, and close this loop right there, like that. That way it's nice and has all of its proper drape and wobble just perfectly. And now we will take a second head pin and another of our little 4mm round or size 8 seed beads, and I'm gonna hold my flat nose pliers again about 3mm away from the bead and bend. Using my mandrel pliers, the same size, I really want to get consistent on my loops. And while on my round nose pliers, I do have a little notch marked that can help me. I really like these pliers. So I'm just going to keep using them. So we have that wrapped around like that, and I want this wire protruding directly out to the side perpendicular, like how it is. Because from here, we're going to open this up just a little, like that. See how there's that gap right there? And this will let us hook onto the petal opposite of where we have attached the ear hook. So how that's connected now. And I'm actually going to use, these are stepped flat nose pliers from Rio Grande or riogrande.com. They'll be linked down in the video description as well, and they're the 2mm tip, and I really like them because I can get in nice and tight. You could also just use like a fine tip chain nose pliers, but I'm not gonna lie to you, these were $6, and it's the best $6, like $6 or $7 before shipping. It's the best money I've ever spent on pliers because they're fantastic. Because I usually, especially when we were traveling more, I lose my pliers so much. I couldn't bear to, spend more than $10 or $15 on a pair of pliers that I'm just gonna lose. But now that I'm home, I'm still using the same cheap pliers, I guess, but they work. And so now I've done the 3 wraps just like how we did on the other pair of earrings. I'm going to give that a snip, and then I'm going to come in and smush that down. And now we have another pair of earrings that I think just looks super cute. Now, if you don't like how far out this is protruding, something that you could do could be to use, I would look for a 6x8, maybe faceted rondel would be really, really pretty right there. So we can I actually have some, now that I'm talking about it. So we can go ahead, I'm going to try to have these linked down below too, but really just, head over to like Michael's or Joann's whenever they're having like a sale on their jewelry making supplies, and, or like scroll through on Amazon or something, what I've got linked down below, and see if anything catches your eye and just kind of shop that way. Oh yeah, I love the rondel in there. So a rondel, unlike a round bead, is one measurement from one angle and then another from another. So there's both technically 8mm beads, but whereas this one is 8mm from every dimension, this one has a 6mm depth, but an 8mm width. So it still fills out our bead cap really, really nicely, but it doesn't have the same amount of protrusion. And so just to have these side by side, you can see that's a pretty different effect. But also our ball pin kind of points out funny. So if you're not really into that, just search for regular head pins and you could do the same exact design that way. So I think we're just going to start with these two designs today. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave them down below. I do love hearing from you guys. If you have any suggestions for future tutorials that you'd like to see, I'd love to hear that as well. If you enjoy our free tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, please check out our Craft Along Club or our Happy Crafter Club, where we send out booty boxes, we do behind the scenes content, we have our exclusive club only after parties on our Friday live streams, we do digital download content, just all sorts of stuff, but it starts at $1 a month, and it really goes a long way to help support the creation of more free tutorials. So I look forward to seeing y'all in our next video. So until then, you guys, happy crafting. Mwah! Bye.